Okay, I'm live, so I'm just waiting for Kyla to join me. I'm going to tell her that I'm here. So, I'll just wait before I start. Today we're going to talk about menopause and how it affects your, can affect your training and your diet. So, just wait. Okay, so I'm sure Kyla's gonna request go live with Kyla. Okay. So, hi, Shell. Okay, I'm looking a little bit hectic, but I didn't get to control the baby hair. Hey, sorry that I'm a bit late. I basically set up and like just there, like next to me, and the sun was like so bright that you could just see a white face.
So position myself like away from the light, but
yeah. So Shelley just says, I'm not menopausal, but get me ready. Okay. So that's what it's here for. You don't have to be menopausal to listen to this chat, but if you're a trainer, it might help you with some clients, and yeah, it can prepare you if not anyway. So I'm gonna put the filter on. 1 sec. Okay, that's a little bit better. Cool. Okay, so I'm going to try to keep my answers quite short and understandable. Do you know what I mean? Because in a way, like, it's not a biology lesson. Like, people just kind of want to know like what they're going through, so or what they may have to go through. So,
sweet.
Yeah. Sorry, I've got a really dry mouth.
No worries.
So yeah, we'll just get straight into it. I've took some notes. Let me just look back on, well, I didn't take notes. I'm just looking at our WhatsApp chat.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, basically
the first one
I'm gonna say is, just before we dive into it, is this is
we're not doctors.
Our second chat surrounding this sort of topic. We already did a chat based on the menstrual cycle and how it affects training and your diet. So if you're more interested in that and a little less interested in the menopausal side of it, then you can go check. Oh, that was really loud. You can go check YouTube out for that, and that's just the Bootkamp with a K. And if not, and if you're here to listen to menopause and understand it a bit better, then you're in the right place. So,
okay,
take it away.
Yeah, just a little disclaimer as well. Like, we're not doctors or anything. Like, a lot of the stuff we say, we have researched, so it's like backed by science. But you know, okay, sorry, my phone keeps sliding. So if I disappear, I'm sorry. So I'm going to go through the two main female hormones, well, sex hormones, which is estrogen and progesterone. So basically, some weird shit's going on here. Estrogen is responsible for the development and regulation of your reproductive system, so basically your menstrual cycle. The other one is for, to prepare you for pregnancy, basically. So it thickens the line of the uterus. Yep. So I remember it as progesterone, prepare for pregnancy, two things. So basically, as you go through menopause, these hormones decrease, and this can cause, well, basically your cortisol hormone, which is your stress hormone, and your insulin start to cause havoc. And this can make changes in brain chemicals. This can increase hunger cravings, and just basically you'll start to feel increased hunger. This isn't working. I'm going to move this. Increased hunger and cravings throughout. So I'm going to go into that a little bit deeper later when we get into the weight gain section. But that's just basically a little brief. Sorry, can you see me? Yeah, a little brief of, I can't keep my phone up, of the two hormones. I think I'm just going to hold it. The two hormones that are mainly affected during menopause. So the next pointer, Kyla's going to take over, which is premenopause. What is it? When do you experience it? What are the symptoms?
Exactly. So I think quite a lot of people are confused about menopause. A lot of the time, if a lady gets a hot flush, just because she's hot, everybody goes, oh, you waving at me?
Me?
It just came up on my screen. Becky.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to. I was just reading through the comments just to make sure we hadn't missed any yet.
yeah, quite a lot of the time people will have a little joke and say, oh, it's menopause, it's this, it's that, without really having an idea if it is or if it isn't. So the first stage is perimenopause or pre-menopause, and this can actually start, oh, that's really loud. This can actually start up to 10 years before your menopause actually is. So Becky's going to go more in depth on menopause, but while we're talking about menopause, the age that ladies usually enter is around about 51, and perimenopause can start up to 10 years before. So some ladies experience this in their 30s, in their 40s, so it's completely normal if you relate to any of these symptoms, but you're not yet in the menopause stage. So what is it? Like me and Becky said, we're not going to go too scientific into this, because a lot of people that are looking for this information aren't dietitians, aren't trainers, because if they were, then they wouldn't be looking for the answers, because they would
Exactly.
try and keep it simple. And it's basically just a change in your hormone level. That's why we wanted to go over the two sex hormones. Oh, that's why we wanted to go over the two
going on here.
reproductive hormones. We will go referring back to estrogen and progesterone, so that's why we want to touch base on that. But
And what they were, exactly.
Your premenopause can start up to 10 years before menopause hits. Some of the symptoms are irregular periods. So if you're in your 30s, 40s, and you're already starting to experience some irregular periods, maybe you've only missed one and then you've carried on to have a normal cycle, this can be the first indication that you're in that stage, okay? And a little tip on that, we touched on this on the last live, is track your periods. Whilst you're still having them, definitely track them, because there's some apps, for example, Clue and Flow, and they can definitely help on diagnosing almost when you're about to hit that stage in menopause as well. So if you're not tracking your periods, you definitely should. Irregular periods, like I said, is the first symptom. From there, hot flushes is another symptom. This can happen before your menopause. Amy says Flow. Yes, I know you've been using it for a few years
I love
well.
Flow as well. I use that.
And yeah, so we've got irregular periods, hot flushes, and mood swings as well, okay? So if you're a guy and you're watching this and you're away to click off, stick around and take a listen, because this might explain why your partner, or if you live with your mum, are going through a bit of a crappy time, and it will just help support. So those are the symptoms of perimenopause. And like I said, the tips: track your period and tell your family, be open with them, okay? It's very normal that you go through mood swings and spells of depression, because your hormones are literally all over the place. So it's kind of worse staying quiet about it, because then you can't express yourself, your family are wondering why you're going a bit crazy, and one day you're up, one day you're down. So definitely talk to people about it and track along the way.
Yeah, exactly. I think people kind of see it as a taboo topic. So I don't think it's something that should be, because every woman goes through it at whatever age. So it's nice to be able to speak about it. Anyway, so what is menopause? What are the symptoms? Was there anything else? Anyway, so menopause, basically, if you don't already know, I'm sure you probably do, is the discontinuation of your menstrual cycle. So the end to your ability to reproduce, basically. So yeah, like Kyla said, this usually happens. I had a medical total hysterectomy last year, not allowed any hormones due to cancer risk. It's been awful. Training is my only outlet, but weight gain is horrible.
Yeah, we're going to touch a little bit on the female hormone replacement, and we'll go into that as well. But thanks, stick around as well.
Yeah, please stick around. Yeah. So yeah, basically, where did I get to?
The continuation of your period.
Yeah, so basically, you're not able to have babies anymore. So what symptoms do like comes up when you start to go through the menopause? Like Kyla said, hot flushes. I'm just going to turn the comments off, sorry, because I get really distracted. How do I do this? I like start, and then we'll go through the comments in a minute. Okay, I don't know how to do that, so
it's all right.
Anyway,
we'll have a look at them afterwards.
Yeah. Anyway, so there we go, gone. So yeah, hot flushes. Well, obviously the main sign is that your period will stop, and usually once you've not had it for about a year, that's when
Yeah.
You've gone through, you're in the menopause phase. So yeah, hot flushes, mood swings. Your sleep can be really badly affected. So really bad sleep patterns. Maybe you just don't have the ability to sleep anymore. Night sweats, chills, weight gain's something that 70% of women going through the menopause will go through, and your metabolism will start to slow down as well. So yeah, it's not really a great time, but I hear it's very good once you've come out of it. Let me just see, what are the symptoms? When do you experience it? Menopause. Okay, so I've touched base on all that. Like Kyla said, around 51, but you can experience it early on anyway. So I'll let you take over for the next one, which is how to combat it.
Yes, so I'm pretty sure, fun times ahead then. I'm pretty sure most of the people that are watching this, if you're watching this on replay, once we upload it to YouTube, there's a chance that you may be in this stage and you just want answers. So I'm going to get onto it. Now, how does our body react is the first thing that we need to know in order to combat it. So there's a few things that happen, and then obviously there's a few things that we can do to make that a little bit better. Number one, we'll go a little bit more diet related, and then we can go a little bit more training related. Becky, you're welcome to jump in at any point as well if you feel.
Yeah, I've got a few points on the next one, weight gain, where I've got to say a lot about diet.
Yeah. All right.
Let you take over the training.
Okay, I'll jump on training. You can go on to diet if you want. Okay, cool.
That's fine. Carry on.
So,
oh, I thought you fell over then. I was like, she's gone.
No, I've got my phone on charge and it's an absolute nightmare. Let me see.
Okay, I had a total hysterectomy 2 years ago, had stage 4 endometriosis. I have been on and off HRT, hormone replacement treatment, but the cells keep growing back. I'm struggling with pain and weight gain. Any tips? Okay.
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll go for a general answer and then we'll go answer for the specifics. So, like Becky said, when we're hitting our menopause, then our hormones all over the place, and we're usually resulted with lower levels of estrogen and progesterone. Estrogen, as we know, if you guys especially watched our last live, it's a great hormone. Most of the time when we're feeling great, it's because we've got high levels of estrogen, and unfortunately in this phase, our levels are just reduced. Okay, there's nothing really that we can do about that unless we go on to hormone replacement later on. So, a main factor that estrogen provides us is with lubricant of the cells. Okay, so perhaps a little thing that Becky didn't mention, if you are experiencing uncomfortable sex, then this can be a reason from it. Lower levels.
That's also a reason.
Yeah, and also estrogen reduces, like Becky said, hot spells by 85%, and it is incredibly useful for our bone density. Okay, it just activates our osteoblasts, it keeps our bones nice and strong. Now, naturally, with a decrease in estrogen, our bones can become brittle, and with diet, Becky will touch on this, we can fix some of those, but also with your training. Okay, now one thing that I'm going to say is weight gain isn't solely to blame from your menopause. Okay, weight gain comes with age. As we get older, our metabolic conditions decrease, and we just naturally require less calories because one, we're usually moving less. Two, as you get older, you have less muscle. So there's many reasons as to why our calorie intake should be a little bit lower. But it doesn't mean that our hunger levels lower at all. Like Becky said, with higher levels of progesterone, then we do actually have higher levels of gremlin, which is the hormone that makes us feel hungry. So it's a bit of an annoying case because we feel equally as hungry, but our body's requiring less calories. So that's one of the reasons why we gain some of that weight. And then, like Becky said as well, with lower levels of progesterone, we can have higher levels of cortisol, and stress hormone also lets us carry some more weight around the midsection, which is annoying as well. However, just because you're in the menopause doesn't mean that you stop benefiting from all the benefits of training. Okay, for some reason, people will start to Google exercises for menopause, diets for menopause, this for menopause, that for menopause. At the end of the day, it's exactly the same. We will lose fat by being in a caloric deficit. I know that Becky will agree with this because we always come back to this. If you're burning more calories than you're consuming, then you will lose fat. It doesn't matter what period of your life you're in. So in terms of training, what we want to do is we want to be burning maximum amounts of calories. Okay, we're gaining a little bit more weight. We want to burn more calories. On YouTube, for some reason, people have gone cardio crazy. You'll go on videos and there'll be exercises for menopause. There'll be ladies doing bicep curls and lunges. How is that any different to any other stage in your life? It's not, but somebody titles it exercise for menopause and everybody goes crazy and thinks that's exactly what they're
obviously.
doing.
So people are just calling that to get
Yeah.
people's attention, and
Exactly.
there's a lot of confusing information out on the
There's
internet.
a
Like
lot.
I said, everything that we research is backed by science or some, you know, medical research that we've looked at on our own initiative to learn. So yeah.
Weight training is what I'm going to say. Don't be afraid, okay? The benefits of weight training are that our metabolism actually increases, and it increases for longer. If we're going to do cardio for 20 minutes, we'll burn the equivalent amount of calories that can be burned in 20 minutes. If we decide to do some weight training, then we will build more muscle. More muscle in the body means a higher metabolic condition, and we'll burn weight for long. It will burn calories for longer, okay, up to 24 hours afterwards.
So just in general, whilst you're relaxing and whilst you're doing nothing, your body will be burning more calories, which links back to what Kyla said at the start, how as you get older, your body needs less calories to survive. So sorry, I don't know if you've got anything else to say.
No, that would be great. Wrapping it up.
Yeah, so you actually went over a few things that I wanted to say as well, but that links back to what Kyla said. I was going to say the exact same. As you get older, your body doesn't need as much energy to survive, therefore you don't need as much calories as you usually would. So you shouldn't be eating the same amounts of food that you was eating in your 30s. However, you know, you still eat with your eyes, so you're thinking that, you know, that you need that amount, but really you may need to take a look at your calorie intake. If you get someone to calculate that for you, if you don't know how to, and then take, obviously, weight loss is calorie deficit, so you need to be eating less calories than you burn, and by having more muscle in your body, more lean muscle mass, you'll naturally burn more calories through the day, so that will be a way to help with weight loss. So just want to make sure some notes that I've gone over. Did that, said that. Okay, I can't remember what you said now. So where was we in the pointers? It says how, sorry, I'm just referring to make sure we don't go off topic. How our bodies react to weight gain in fat. Okay, so I think you actually covered that, didn't you?
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, if you just want to go for a little bit about calories.
Oh, diet, yeah. So carry on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, just touch a little bit.
Yeah, so at the end of the day, basically, I think calories are still king. Now, unless you're competing for something, you're an athlete or something like that, I don't think you really need to be just the average, you know, person that just wants to lose a bit of fat. I don't think you need to be really looking into the micronutrients that you're eating so much. Yes, people do say that as you go through, basically, as your estrogen and progesterone decrease, you can become insulin resistant. So people do recommend maybe a lower carb diet, but in general, calories are still king. So this means basically having a calorie intake, finding a deficit from that. So, you know, what we spoke about before, and I don't think you really need to look so much into what food you're eating. By that, I mean protein, carbs, or fats. Just make sure that your diet is balanced and that you're getting a good amount of fibers in your diet as well. So, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, obviously, by eating more nutritious foods and things like that, because you will be feeling more hungry, you can eat in bigger volumes with less calories, and that's going to help you with the weight loss side of it. Go on, you can add what you can say.
And I was just going to say as well that in okay quantities, then they do recommend that you increase your dairy levels as well, because obviously we need, or just your calcium if you're not wanting to take in direct.
Yeah, because of
yeah,
obviously
for example, you're vegetarian, you're vegan, Go ahead.
As you said, like about your bones becoming brittle and stuff like that, that can be one thing that you can get once you go through menopause. So there's many diseases that the likelihood of you getting it increases after going through menopause, and osteoporosis is one of them. So that's the weakening of the bones. And obviously a good diet, like Kyra said, with you know, even if it's a calcium, did you say calcium supplement or something like that, will help with that, along with strength training, resistance training, to help your bones become stronger. Oh, so messy there. Yeah, was that it, or
Yeah,
did you
I think
want
so.
to
We can move on a little bit to hormone
do a
increase.
bit of the training?
Or
Yeah, so to add on to what Kyla said before about training, how everyone is saying, you know, cardio is a good way, blah blah blah. I do want to add that obviously due to the low levels of estrogen and progesterone in your body, you need to be able to control your stress levels a little bit more, because those hormones usually regulate that a little bit, and now we don't have as much of these hormones in your body. So what does that mean? That means as well, you could take up some exercises that release your stress. So whether that be yoga, meditation, I know that's not full on exercise, but it could help you lower your stress levels, maybe taking longer walks. And it's also, there's some studies to say that you shouldn't change the way you train. For example, if you've been resistance training the whole time before, so think of it as, don't change the medicine, but change the dose of it. So women that are going through menopause, basically, because it's harder to handle that stress, so basically, say before, I'm trying to say it in simple,
That's all right.
like way. If you're used to in your 30s doing 6 really intense, so say I'm going to give examples. Me and Kyla, we like to train resistance training. We go to CrossFit. Most of the workouts that we do, we're like panting after, in a puff, etc. Do you know what I mean? So when we go through this menopausal stage, we might have to cut back on the exercise a little bit, still do our strength training, but something that will bring our stress levels, won't take our stress levels up so much. So it's still good to do that maybe 2 or 3 times a week, but maybe not 5 or 6 times a week, because, you know, maybe replace that with long walks. It's good to make sure that you're getting your steps in, 5,000 to 10,000 steps a day. That's really going to help with, you know, getting your knee up and things like that, like we always spoke about in the last one, which all contribute to losing weight and stuff as well. So so basically, just in a nutshell, eating less, maybe doing less excessive exercise, but still that doesn't mean put down the weights. Resistance training is really, really, really good for for not just for people going through menopause, but literally for anyone. Anyway.
If you can build some muscle, you can keep your bone density good.
Exactly.
Earning a little bit more than you're eating.
And also, sorry, I don't think we mentioned this, but just make sure you're taking enough rest. So make sure you are getting enough recovery in between your training sessions. And I know it could be difficult in this phase, but try to get an adequate amount of sleep. This will also help reduce your stress levels and things like that as well. And try to avoid any quick fix diets, okay? Not in this for the quick fixes. It's going to do more harm than good. Last thing you want to be doing is yo-yo dieting during this phase. So yeah.
Let me just take a little read of this comment. How about when you're actually underweight and in general don't eat so much? FX so far I've eaten around the 400 calories. How do I make sure I don't put too much weight on too fast? I eat vegan. Okay, so at the moment we're actually touching on
I think you joined a little bit late.
So what we'll do is I'll leave that question till the end, and we can kind of just sum up some general ones, but we'll just stick onto the topic and then we'll come back to it.
Yeah, so welcome back to it. Is that a pint of wine you're drinking, Bex? No, it's actually sugar-free Vimto. But it does look like that. I always think people are going to think I'm on Tinto or wine or something like that. That's funny. I'm just going to quickly go through the comments, just make sure I've not missed anything that was said about menopause. So I've been on and off. So to Debs, we're going to touch on hormone hormone replacement treatment now. But in general, everything that we've spoke about with weight gain, about training and nutrition will apply to that. Obviously, pain, I'm not really too sure about. I'm not sure what pain you're getting, and we're also not a doctor, so we can help with the weight gain tips and things like that. But if you're getting severe pain or anything, then maybe you should ask your doctor. I know it's hard because there's a lot of doctors. I've read a lot that women are really struggling to find a good doctor that has good knowledge in menopause. So I can understand anyone's frustration that's not getting the right advice that they need. Okay. So next one.
Good for me to touch on hormone.
I know that. Yeah, I know there's two things. There's like a biochemical thing. I don't really know much about that, so I'm not gonna comment anything on that unless you know anything about that one. But the main one is HRT.
Yeah.
Is that the one that you was going to touch on as well?
Yeah, I was going to touch on HRT because in the industry at the moment, there's it's kind of a bit. Some people swear by it, people don't.
Basically, I'll say why because sorry.
No, I'm joking. Go ahead.
But no, I'll just before Kyla goes on. There was a study, so it was big in the industry in the from the 1940s, and then in the 2000s there was a study on women taking HRT, and it came out to say that there was increased risk of heart disease and things like that. It turns out that these studies weren't very accurate, and after that, the people that were involved in taking those studies have apologized, have wrote books apologizing, done lots of talks about it, but it didn't get the same publicity that it did at the start. So just to say that I'm sure Kyle will go more into it in a minute about the age when you take this hormone replacement, but that's where all this bad publicity came from in the first place. So yep.
Yeah, so obviously you're recommended to take this when you're in the stage of menopause, okay? Like I said, premenopausal or perimenopause can happen up to 10 years before you actually hit menopause. And that's when things are still a little bit crazy and things are fluctuating up and down. So there can be a period in your life, it could go on for a year, where you just have really low levels of estrogen, but perhaps really high levels of progesterone, okay? So HRT, we almost need to wait for things to sort of settle before we then start introducing the therapy and start messing with the levels until they've not done. Okay, so it's almost like when you're growing up and you want to get surgery, but you haven't quite finished growing yet, so people recommend that you don't go for it. Or if you want to get braces, but your teeth haven't fully finished growing, then it's almost like you have to just wait it out. Now, why would you go for HRT therapy? Like we said, when you hit menopause, your estrogen and progesterone levels decrease. We went over a little bit about what each of them provide. Your estrogen, basically the main thing is that it helps release the ovaries. It helps release the egg from the ovaries, okay, down the fallopian tube to then be later turned into a baby or just pass through your period, okay? Exactly. So when our estrogen levels drop, our FSH, which is our follicle hormone stimulant, FHS, is increased. Our levels of progesterone increase in that period before they drop. And that's when we can experience our hot flushes and our night sweats, etc. Now, HRT has shown to be most effectful in the hot flushes, because that's what we need our estrogen for, and the night sweats, okay? So if those are two things that you're experiencing horrendously with, then perhaps a doctor will recommend this for you. Now, if your biggest symptom is just that you can't sleep and you're just got insomnia, then you are miles better finding a separate medication or a separate treatment to deal with your insomnia, rather than increasing your estrogen levels or your progesterone levels, which aren't actually going to combat your sleep, okay? And it goes exactly the same if you are experiencing painful sex or vaginal dryness. There are creams non-hormonal creams and other treatments that will work out a little bit better than going into HRT, okay? Like we said, with increased levels of estrogen and progesterone, it has been linked to cancer in some cases. Like somebody said in the comments, I go back, don't know if I can find it now. Yeah, I had a medical total hysterectomy last year, not allowed any hormones due to cancer risk. Exactly. One of the main things I would recommend when you're going through your menopause is go to a doctor and have your blood levels checked, see what's going on. Because before you go for any, I'm sure that any doctor will recommend this as well before they do put you on any sort of medication or any treatment, is to have your blood levels checked. Have a little look, see what's going on. There could be a chance that it's just your cortisol that's rocket high, and that's why you're stressful, and then that's why you're not sleeping, etc., etc. Things like we said before, sorting out your diet and just introducing some training into your diet and some training into your everyday routine can help combat that. Because like we said, when you exercise, you have certain hormones that are released in your body that make you feel good, okay? Serotonin and dopamine levels can cancel out in the brain and make you feel happy. So that could be as simple as something that sorts it out for you rather than having to go straight into therapy. There's lots of other, but like I said, Owen, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that also though, I don't know, you not mentioned the age gap for stuff like this as well. So that it's been linked, like you said before, HRT has been linked with the increased chance of disease and stuff like that, which can be heart disease, cancer, etc. Now, usually if you're between the age of 40 and 60, that the benefits from taking the hormone replacement, obviously, like Kyla said, you should go to your doctor first and, you know, take some tests, see, you know, take some hormone, like see where your hormones are and things like that before just starting it. But the benefits do outweigh the risks. And after you pass the age of 60, if you're thinking of starting it, then you should definitely study this with a doctor, case by case basis. So everyone's individual, because this depends on whether your health aligns with the treatment. Okay, so if you are under 60, 40 to 60, and you really think that it would benefit you, then it is, I mean, obviously do your research as well, but it is research and proven that the benefits outweigh the risks for this. So yeah. And actually, I'll tell you who, I made a note of the doctor that did the study on that, if you want to go and refer to it. She's called Dr. Hannah Short. So yeah, if you're looking into hormone replacement tablets and you don't really know, you're getting a lot of different information and you actually want to look at some research, type her in Google, Dr. Hannah Short, and just put in something like advice with hormone replacement therapy. So yeah, just thought I'd put that there so that if anyone is thinking of taking it and wants to look at some research done by doctors and things like that, then I think I don't know if she has some articles, maybe she has like, I think there's an interview as well with her somewhere, so you can listen to that too.
Oh, nice one. Yeah, I think mine and Becky's main point with this video was to almost let ladies know that they're not alone in this whole situation. And I know it's kind of hard listening to girls in their 20s talk about it when we haven't experienced it. And I will straight away put a disclaimer out that I know it can be hard. I don't physically know, but I know from studying that it can be really stressful. Some ladies deal with it fine, and if you do, honestly, congratulations, because I know that for a lot of people it can be a really dark time in their lives. You know, weight gain's not easy anyway, so if you've gained weight through your menopause, or if you have become depressed or anxious through it, then I do understand that it's not the best time. But like we said, make sure that you talk up about it and let people know, because I think now the word period has almost become acceptable in society. Finally, people are kind of getting their head around it. And because it happens to every single girl, and everybody's kind of going, hold up.
But in a way, I'm going to be honest with you, like this called me then. Always my dad calling at the wrong time, probably to ask me a silly question. Are you back?
Sorry,
are we back? I got a phone call come through. I had to cancel it. That's why it paused. So yeah, but there's still guys out there now that like I'd mentioned something about a period and like, oh, that's disgusting. Why is it disgusting? Everyone goes through it. It is not disgusting. If we didn't have it, we wouldn't be able to reproduce. So if you're a guy and you've ever said that, I really suggest that you never say that again.
Yeah, no,
And I
definitely.
wanted to do this talk as well because I'm sure Kyle is the same, but I don't think personally we don't want to wait until we've gone through menopause to relate to our clients about that, and we want our clients, whether they be young or old, to be able to come to us and ask for advice, or even just talk to us about something like this.
Yeah, definitely. And I was just going to say that now we've kind of got to a stage where you can type in Google or on YouTube and there'll be millions of answers on all things menstrual cycle related and period related, and saying whether you should train on it or not. Me and Becky spoke about this, and there's a lot to say and there's a lot to know about that subject, and even if people aren't talking about it as much, the information is there. However, I was shocked because obviously whenever we do these chats, I like to see what else is out there, what people are saying, to combat that or refer it back to a study example. But when I went on to like YouTube, for example, I just came across so many videos titled exercises for menopause, and then I'd click on them and they would be so misleading, because at the end of the day, a guy that's 30 years old in his peak of training could follow the same exercises and have the same outcome, which is build a bit of muscle, but they title it menopause, exercise for menopause, and everybody suddenly goes crazy. And I just thought it was, and the amount of videos as well that gave false information. Becky was sending loads back and forth, like, go to minute 7, I can't believe it, there's 6 minutes, I can't believe that this is being advertised, because it's crazy, it's mental.
I agree. So we were actually, obviously, as trainers, we just wanted to put it out there that you know, that diet and training can help through the menopause phase, and that just because you're, you know, maybe a little bit older doesn't mean that you need to stop resistance training. Actually, it can be really, really helpful, and it should be a reason maybe to start. You're never too old, it's never too late. And yeah, just the nutrition stuff that we spoke about, you know, if you really don't know like how much calories you should be eating, you can go see someone. I mean, even us can do things like that. We calculate, you know, your calories and stuff like that. So if you're really struggling, just speak to someone about it, you know, I'm sure.
Yeah, if anybody's got any questions now, pop them back up on the screen again so you don't have to go
and then before we go, I don't know if she's gone off, but Kiki says, how about when you're actually underweight in general, don't eat so much? So far, I've eaten around the 400 calories. How do I make sure I don't put too much weight on too fast? I eat vegan. So I don't know what you mean by you've eaten around the 400 calories. Does that mean like today, or what do you think from that question?
I very hope that you are not eating 400 calories in a day, and if you are, then we'll have a little private chat about that.
That's so if you're
anyway, she's not actually watching
now
anyway.
Okay, so yeah, okay, well, maybe we'll just drop her a message after this. But yeah, basically, if you're underweight and you're eating 400 calories, that's why you're underweight. So how do I
asks, does yoga or Pilates help when going through it? Yeah, so Becky touched on this earlier and said that anything that you find that helps lower your stress levels is going to help, okay? Because increased levels of cortisol will increase our blood sugar levels. Extra blood sugar levels that aren't actually burnt will convert as fat, and it's a cycle. It goes on and on. You can carry on. So yeah, if you can find something that does relax you, then brilliant. That's 100% going to help combat with it. So yeah, if you're trying to look at it from a training point of view, and does Pilates specifically help with the weight loss? Not exactly. Okay, when you said I was like, oh, we're contradicting.
No, not exactly. I was going to say, obviously, if you are looking at gaining muscle to improve your metabolism, like we spoke about before, then I would definitely recommend combining yogas or Pilates with some resistance training. So say, for example, you decide to do 2 or 3 sessions a week of resistance training, and then you add a yoga session in or 2 yoga sessions in for de-stressing. That could be meditation, walking. I did touch on that before. So you could think of that, although it is working out, like sometimes I do yoga and I'm like, woo, that was a workout. I wouldn't say it's personally best for gaining muscle mass, which by muscle mass, I don't mean you're going to get bulky and big. It's just going to, you're going to become more toned and tight, and yeah, which we also touched on another one. So another question, you mentioned rest periods, may not be taking enough rest periods during lockdown, training every day. Yeah, rest periods are really, really important, because if not, you do put extra stress on your body. You're not recovering properly. I can't stress how much rest days are important. Now,
Yeah.
it's hard sometimes to take that step back and rest, but there's many reasons why your rest is important. So yeah, I definitely recommend looking at how much you're training and putting in the right rest periods to make sure that your muscles are recovering and that you aren't increasing your stress levels too high.
Yeah, I'm just going to say about that. We did kind of talk about this on another live, not the last one. I don't know which one it was. About your stress levels. The body can't really differentiate between external factors of stress and internal factors.
Yeah.
So when you put your body through stress, essentially in a workout session, because if you've got sore muscles the next day, then that's just lots of tiny little tears in the muscle.
Yeah.
Is stress on the muscle as well. Okay, so your body can't really determine whether the stress is coming from relationship or from work, or whether it's coming from being over exercised or repetitive strain injury. So that is really important, why we take our rest and let the body just recover, come back to its natural state before you go. So if you're somebody that hasn't done any exercise or hitting menopause and you're going to straight away go for 6 sessions in a week, it's not achievable, and you're going to end up hurting yourself. Okay,
And burn yourself out.
Yeah, exactly. So like Becky said, maybe introduce something like Pilates or resistance training 1, 2, 3 times a week and go building it up like so.
Yeah.
If you're somebody that's done resistance training their whole life, then you can crack on with it.
Exactly.
If anybody's got any more questions, let us know.
Yeah.
And we can answer them. I'm getting really hot now. I'm gonna have to
No,
open the window.
I'm sat in front of, like, that's why I just moved. I sat in front of a window.
Yeah, so am I.
Okay.
I've reached the window, and I've got Simpsons on
Thank
as
you.
well.
Okay, so yeah, I hope we cleared a few things up for you there. Thank you for staying and listening the whole time. I've seen a couple of you have said hello at the start and are still here now, so thank you for that.
Yeah, so me and Becky are looking to do these lives definitely twice a week. At the moment, we're doing them on Instagram because Facebook's just not right. We can't do a split screen, and with the whole COVID-19 situation at the moment, we can't actually be together to film these. But the second that we're allowed back together, we're going to be back filming podcasts and these live videos. We'll get some on Facebook as well. I know a few of these ladies have come over from Facebook, so thank you for that. We'll sort that out. But if anybody's got any topics that you want us to touch on as well, let us know.
And also,
comments now or.
Yeah, also we repost these onto YouTube at the minute, and eventually when we get the time to, well, not that we've not got the time, but when we have the resources to, we're going to make them into shorter videos onto YouTube. And Becky, you lost your Mancunian accent. Yeah, a long time ago. We're going to make them into like short 8 to 10 minute videos, maybe less, just to go over the main points. So if you ever forget anything that we've said or want to look back on something that's in a different live, for example, we've said we mentioned quite a few things in different lives, you can head to YouTube and just watch
it out there. Yeah, and after some lives as well, we do usually send out some emails on that same topic just to refresh your guys. If anybody wants to subscribe to our email chain or link, then you can do so through our website, which I can get Becky to pop on the screen now. It's the bootkampmarbella.com, bootcamp with a K, and you can just subscribe there, and we send emails out every other day about all different topics, and you'll just be the first to know if we're going to do one of these lives.
Exactly. I've just put that in, so you should have it there.
Anyway, we're going to upload this one to Becky's story. It'll be up for 24 hours.
Yeah, okay, so see you later. Thank you.
See you later. Thank you.